Hello everyone, no unboxing today because this Hoover Convertible, yes, this is called convertible in the UK. I know it's not the same as your American convertible if you're watching this in the US of A or Canada, but this is what we know as a convertible, and what you know as a convertible we know as a senior. So I've just come back within the last half hour or so collecting this from Manchester. Yes, had to, I won't tell you what I had to do to catch a lift to Manchester to pick this up, but there was a lot of sort of fluttering of eyelashes and promises. Actually no, I just offered hard cash. I said, look, I'll give you X amount. I'm not saying how much, telling you how much. It's none of your business. But I did pay. Well, I haven't yet. I might forget to pay. But anyway, I was taken to Manchester, quite close to the centre of Manchester, actually, to pick this up. It was demonstrated in the seller's garage, switched on. And on first glance at this, I'm pretty pleased with it. And when the seller switched it on, I was pretty pleased with the way this sounded. It's got a couple of issues I can detect straight away, but all in all, I think this is going to polish up into a very nice example of a late Hoover convertible. So, without any further ado, let's take a closer look. I think this is model U5002. We'll check the rating sticker underneath to confirm. But I think it is. Made in France, so it's not a USA made version. As far as I know, they all were made in France. The ones that we got in the UK, I don't think, I can't be 100% certain, but I don't think they made this ever in the UK. So yes, you'd know this as a Dial-O-Matic in the US of A. And I do have an American Dial-O-Matic on my channel, a rather fetching green and brown variant. So it's not as if I didn't have one of these, but I did want to get a UK spec one that I don't have to use my converter box for. And also one little ambition that I've fulfilled, I now own every single upright vacuum cleaner in a particular Hoover brochure. I'll put a picture up of the brochure. So I do have now, and I can't believe I've got every single model in this picture. To be pedantic, I don't have both variants of Starlight. I only have the red coloured, solar red Starlight. I don't have the midnight blue one, although I do have a midnight blue bag door for Hoover Starlight, and I think that's the only difference. So yeah, I can't believe I've got all this, and these are pretty rare, and there was a lot of interest apparently. The seller got a lot of requests to sell it, buy it now. They didn't want to bid. So this did, I'll tell you how much it was, full disclosure. This was £155, which isn't bad for one of these. If the seller had decided to box it up properly, take the handle off and offer it with postage, it probably would have gone for more than £155. So here it is, and yeah, it's a few nicks. This is a metal casting. To get one of these in perfect condition is, well, pretty unusual, but there are a few parts where the paint's come off. It'll look better with a polish, but you know, it's pretty good. When I saw it, and especially when he turned it on, and you'll hear it going in this video, I thought, yes, the motor sounds good. I know I'm going to need a new agitator belt, possibly new brushes, a proper bag in it, a new diffuser, and a good clean. But I'm not going to have to take the motor apart and do anything with it because it sounds absolutely fantastic. So let's look a bit closer at the base of this cleaner. We can see here the fabulous Hoover roundel, and that's in lovely condition. There is a slightly later version of this. I think this is from '79, and I believe this cleaner certainly was made up to 1980, possibly 81, but there are later versions of this with a slightly smaller roundel, but this is the sort of the original size the roundel would have been. So I like it, the fact that it's got the nice big Hoover roundel. We've also got a 3-position height control. Now most Hoover cleaners of a certain era would have had the 4-position height right control, and earlier versions of the convertible didn't have a height right control at all. So this was a later feature. I might need to put it on high on this plush carpet. I'll try it on high first, and then if it's too high I'll have to obviously move it down to normal. That moves pretty well. It's not too bad, he says. There we go. So that's your 3-position height control. On this side of the cleaner we've got the foot operated handle release pedal. So press once to release the handle to the operating position, and it will lock in the operating position. This isn't a top heavy cleaner. You can leave it in this position and it's not going to topple over. Press it once more and you get to the low position. So it's not, you know, it is quite a bulky machine, so it's not going to get right under your furniture. The head is fairly sleek, a little bit more sleeker than the Senior. Certainly doesn't have the bulbous motor hood because the motor is in here. This, incidentally, not this particular one, but this design was Hoover's first ever clean air upright, and from what I understand it was the world's first clean air upright, which means it doesn't have a metal fan where all the dirt passes through it into the bag. It'll have 2 aluminium fans that can run at higher speed. This is over 800 watts, the motor, which is a lot for a machine of this era, and especially when it was introduced in the 60s. So it gives you greater suction power. Still got the Hoover beats as it sweeps as it cleans action, but as I said, it's a clean fan design, which is very nice indeed. Right, well, while we're in this vicinity, I'll flip the cleaner over and we'll have a look at the business end. I haven't done anything with this cleaning yet apart from a bit of a wipe in certain areas because I want to use it on my carpet in this introductory video, and I didn't want it creating a mess, although this carpet is well overdue for a shampoo and it's pretty dirty at the moment because I've been cleaning various carpets for my caravan and mats and things, and there's loads of bits on the floor. So I did give this base plate a bit of a wipe, the beat bars as well. So here's the beats as it sweeps, as it cleans agitator. The brushes don't look bad actually. I do have some new brushes, but looking at them from this angle they do protrude quite a lot from the base plate. And here are the roller wheels. They're the wheels that move up and down according to your height setting. I won't take it off now, but to remove the base plate, to change the belt, there are 2 screws, one here and one here. So you just loosen the screws and then these catches just move around, and then you can just pivot the whole base plate out. I've had a look at the belt. It's fairly slack, so it will need a new belt. The belt is this side. This is a suction side, so there's a hose underneath here, flexible hose, which is in good condition. I do have a spare one of those if needs be. And as you can see, it's a pretty solid machine, not very close to the edge for this machine. There's quite a big gap there where the belt is, and there's a gap there, so it's not going to give you brushed edge cleaning. But in a way it's similar to the Starlight underneath, but unlike the Starlight, as I said, this is a clean fan machine and not a dirty fan. So everything feels really smooth, and you'll hear the motor in a minute, and it did sound very good even in a garage. We'll have a quick look here at the rating sticker. This is Hoover model U5002, 240 volts, 50 hertz, 800 watts. It's BEAB approved and double insulated. Made in France by SA Hoover. The serial number, if I can make it out, is U5002. The number printed on the rating sticker is 51200290. So the 5 is the first number after the model number that's on the label. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking that this is from 1975. On the end of the cable we've got a Volex branded plug, so it is age appropriate, I would say, because it's not got insulated pins. It's not been wired very well. I'm going to have to redo that. I'll just open it up briefly and just check that everything is connected. They obviously haven't put the outer insulation under the cord grip like they should, which is very common, that's not wired correctly. So that, you know, a bit of tugging and you could find one of the wires coming out. I mean, the worst that could happen would the cleaner would just switch off. But yeah, who knows what might happen. But it's not going to happen in this video because I'm going to make sure it's wired before I plug it in. So we've got the cable on the back. To remove the cable, there is a hook at the top which you turn down either way and the cable comes off, and then you have to put the hook back up because the hook also secures the bag door. So the cable looks to me original and it's undamaged. Here's the dial on the back of the cleaner. This is what gives the Dial-O-Matic its name, but obviously this is called convertible in the UK and Europe where it was sold. It was sold in France and Germany, I think, and probably some other European countries. But uprights weren't as popular in those countries as they were in the UK. So I expect they sold more of these in the UK than they did in France, where this cleaner was made. All the dial does is divert the suction from either the cleaner head or the connection here for the hose. So at the moment it's set on maximum suction when used in upright mode. So it's on setting 3 max, and you can change it setting 2, setting 1 minimum. This is quite stiff. I couldn't move it at all when I got this cleaner home. I've taken it apart and given it a bit of a wipe and loosened the screw a bit, but it's still very stiff, so I'm going to have to look at that. So there we go, minimum suction for cleaner head. So if you've got a lightweight rug, you could set it to minimum. And if you turn it round, we've got 3 settings for the hose: minimum, medium and maximum. So on maximum you've got full suction through the hose. I haven't got any tools with this. It didn't come with any tools, but I do have a full tool kit. So if you've got a Hoover Freedom cylinder vacuum, a Hoover Freedom hose will fit that, as will I believe a Porter Power, possibly a Hoover Celebrity. It's just the 2 lug fitting. So I can fit tools to this. When you see this after I've given it a good refurb, I'll find the tools and we'll demonstrate the machine in tool mode as well as upright mode. Also, the dial forms the lower hook for the mains cable. So we'll just turn it back around. I've got to be careful with this brittle plastic. It's quite grubby, but it's not too bad, to be honest. It's going to clean up very well. There we go. So now I've diverted it. I'll show you the mechanism underneath this when I open the bag door, which will be right now. To access the dust bag, we have to rotate the cord hook again in either direction, and the bag door opens up like this. It's not bad, fairly clean. Does have a bag in it, but when I look at it, I mean, it's not a bad fit. I don't know. It's for a Russell Hobbs, unless I don't know if it is for Russell Hobbs. It looks, no, I think it's a mishmash. It says Type E on it. Trying to see what machine this is for. It's an old bag anyway. I think it's an old bag that's been modified, because this has got a website address for Russell Hobbs. So I think they've taken a bag and stuck this bag collar on. It's a bit of a loose fit. We do have, I think that's the original metal bag sealer Dewberry clip. I do have some original bags for this. I think I've got some fabric HEPA-type bags that fit this as well. But for the initial turning on, I might as well just use this bag here. Yeah, it's already leaking out dust. Here's the other side of the dial, and if you look at this area here, you'll see as I turn the dial, the valve moving over. As I said, it is a bit stiff to turn the dial, but when I've taken all this apart and given it a good clean, it might function a bit smoother. You can see they made it clear in case a blockage occurs anywhere in this elbow part. And here is the laughable filter, which doesn't filter very well at all, because it's just a metal mesh with a flock coating. And a lot of dirt has passed through here into the motor compartment. So although I've no plans on taking the motor apart, I will be taking the motor out of this cleaner when I give it a bit of a refurb. But because it sounds so good, I don't want to take it apart and do things with it that I don't think it needs, to be honest. But I will get my air compressor debris and blow out as much of the dust, because there will be dust around the fans, there'll be dust around the armature. But I'll just take the motor outside, give it a good blow through while I'm cleaning the rest of the machine. I think, personally, that's all it will need. You can comment below when I turn it on if you think it sounds good. I personally do. Right, let me put that back, it's a bit fiddly. No, I normally put a better filter. Once this mesh part is cleaned up, I'll cut a more modern filter to go over the top of that just to protect it. And I will be using a fleece bag when I use this cleaner properly. As this is a later version, Hoover moved the switch from the back of the handle to the top of the bag compartment here. I'm glad to see that the exhaust grille is intact. These can get broken. It's quite delicate, especially a machine of this age. So these are easily broken, but they are fine. I don't know if the camera's picking up. I'm not sure if you can see, but it's got the same problem as all these have. The diffuser has perished. There's bits of it. It's either the diffuser, there would have been a black sort of sponge diffuser behind this grille. And this is the check bag indicator. So basically, when there's sufficient airflow, you won't see check bag because it'll be like that. If you get a blockage or the bag's full and the airflow is reduced, then that will pop up advising you to have a look at the bag and empty or replace. So yes, admittedly this Hoover Convertible needs a bit of fettling, but I'm sure after that it will be in fine fettle for a proper demonstration, because I know these cleaners have good agitation. If they're like the American counterparts I've shown you on my channel, they really do agitate the pile well, as long as they've got a decent belt and decent brushes and everything is clean inside, obviously. So I'm going to enjoy doing this one. I might retro bright. I don't know. I'm not. I think it does. Yeah, that the main body has slightly yellowed, especially if you compare it to the motor hood. So you can see, even the mustard colour of the front and back might have gone a bit darker than it was. I don't think I'm going to retro bright the coloured parts, but after a good clean, and this is a textured plastic so it holds onto the muck, you know, more than a smooth shiny surface, but after that's had a good soak and a bit of a scrub, it's going to look better. So I think I'll leave well alone with the retro brighting, but I might retro bright the main bag housing, and obviously the base will need a bit of T-cut, couple of coats of polish, and it's going to look a whole lot better. And yes, the front cover will be coming off, everything cleaned internally as well. But all in all, I'm very happy to finally own one of these. I've had them in the past, never this colour. I've had the Mandarin blue version, and I can't remember if it had the height control. I've unplugged, haven't I? Yes, I did rewire the plug off camera. It was a bit dangerous, to be honest, because there was bare wire showing just where the plug enters, where the cable enters the plug. So I spent a few minutes just wiring it properly and stripping the wires back. so that's a lot better. And I might keep that plug. I can polish up the pins when I do a refurb, but it's a nice age appropriate Volex, so I think that can stay. And of course I need to have a look at the handle, but I do have the service manual that includes all the convertible models, as well as this one and the very final one, which was burgundy. Beautiful machine, but it also incorporated a headlight at the bottom like the Starlight, but that had a burgundy metal casing and burgundy front and back and a burgundy hand grip, and I think the handle was black. I never bought one of those when they were in the shops. I remember seeing them in the shops in the 80s. I never bought one, but what I did do, I bought all the parts from Hoover in Bolton. They still had all the parts for that model. Ended up costing me about £300 back in the day, and I took the internal parts from a convertible I had and put them inside the body of the new version. I don't know if I've actually shown that on my channel. It'll only be a picture of it. It's not a video, but I do show that model in a slideshow that I made of the cleaners I had at the time. But really pleased with this. It looks pretty good now. It matches my curtains, I've noticed. Yeah, a pretty nice match. So it's not going to look out of place in this living room, but obviously it's filthy. It was spewing out muck. I was breathing it in, but I'm really going to enjoy giving this a proper refurb. It's a labour of love, but it's going to sit very well with my other 70s Hoover cleaners. If you've any comments or questions about this Hoover convertible, please comment below, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.